All right. So today we are. I'm just going to go over Chapter 12 exercise. This customer maintenance exercise, and I think if you look at this thing, I think this is the exercise. What is this? Yeah, this one here. Create customer maintenance application using classes. And so I was just going to go through this, you know, you're probably still working on your midterm. So it's that page and this other page here, 408 and 49. And so let me put this up like this. Put this over here. And let me also download this customer maintenance.zip. And let me maybe put it down here. Let's see here. Oh, let me share my screen. All right. So we're gonna do this 12-1 exercise in the back of chapter 12. Thought I'd do that today. And it is customer maintenance. So let me open this up. And let me download these two things. Customer maintenance. Guess I can put that in here. And this one, page 2. All right, so if we go in here and start this up, there's one thing that I could not do on my computer at home. It's because I didn't have the class diagram thing installed. So let me, okay, so let me start this up. I want to see if I got that on this one. Apparently you're supposed to be able to go right click, view, I don't see it. No, I don't see it. View, oop, what about this? Right click, oop. Nope, I don't see it. View. All right, so it must not be installed on this either. All right, so so anyway, this code here, if we look at basically the idea is let's look at this, what this says. So in this exercise, we're going to create. Make this bigger. In this exercise, we'll create a customer maintenance application that uses 3 classes. To make the application easier to develop, they have given us starting forms, a complete validator class, and a complete customer DB class. It's got some stuff in there that we haven't seen yet, but presumably we'll get to that later on. The customer DB class for working with data in a file of customers. So this customer DB class assumes that there's a file of customers in this directory right here, which let's see, what happens if I, let me just open this up. Let me go here and I use this one here. It assumes a it assumes that we're using that path, and so we're going to probably have to change that. But that's the file name. So we're going to probably place it in a different directory, so we're going to change that. Okay, so we start out, we're going to open the application, and then we're going to review both of the forms in the form designer so we can get an idea of how the project works. So let me put this over here. And so if we look at the form, let's look at the customers. It looks like this. So, you know, we're going to have this list of customers here. We're going to be able to add customers, delete customers, and so on. And then there's a form that we add the customers with, and that looks like this. So, this form.customer.db.cs, customer.db.cs that we're talking about, this is the path to the down here C# 2015 files. I don't think we've got anything there we can see. This C. No, I don't see anything like that here. So we'll see what happens when we get this to run. But I'm probably gonna have to move this someplace. All right, and when we look at the view the code for these forms here, we see that there's not really anything there. There's no code here, and there's no code here. So we're going to have to add that code. And then we're also going to add a class, a customer class, which has all of the properties and methods that that are associated with a customer. So so let's just follow the instructions here and see what it says. We go here, and the first thing is open, review both forms. So we've done that. Add a class named customer to this project, and add the properties, method, and constructors that are shown in the table here. So there's going to be and then we're going to code. They want us to code the method using this. I guess I'll show you what that is. They talked about that in this chapter. It's just a quicker way of doing gets and returning values. So if we start this, put this over here. We can start by making this a customer class. So let's just go here, customer maintenance, right click, add a class, and we're going to name it a customer. And so it comes up here, customer.cs. And so we'll start out by making it a public class. And let's add some properties here. Let's add this, let's see if I can put all this on one screen. So we're going to add, let's add a private string first name and a private string last name. So we're going to use the convention where the actual storage allocation will be called first name and last name, and it'll be lowercase f, lowercase l. And but when we actually access it using these accessors, we will use capital. We will capitalize them at that time. So these are the three private variables, private properties that we're going to use when we add a customer here, and that's what will be stored down in the file, the text file. Okay, so next we're going to add a constructor, this blank constructor here, and with the blank constructor we can allocate a customer, but then we have to assign values specifically using the accessors to first name, last name, and email. And then we're also gonna, so that's this blank constructor, and then with the default values there, and then we're also going to create a constructor where we can input the first name, the last name, and the email. So it's kind of like all in one fell swoop. So we create a customer object using specified values. So the first constructor just looks like this, public customer, and it's just with no parameters, and then we have like that. And then we have a public, that's for the first one, and the second one is public customer, and that's going to input a string first name and a string last name and a string email. And that's simply going to assign values to these up here. So we do that by just saying this first name. We'll see what this looks like in a moment. I'm going to capitalize this. This, and the reason it's got underlines because we haven't defined those accessors yet. And so let's define those accessors. That's going to that's these things here. This is how you actually access them externally. So the first one is public string first name capitalized, and that's going to have a get and the get is just simply going to return the property, private property, and the set is going to set first name private property equal to this reserved word value that comes in. All right. So that's the accessor for the first name, and so that's this. So this comes in and it accesses this accessor right here. And there's one for a last name and for email. Public string last name, and it's going to be a get returned last name and set last name equals the value that comes in. And I got one for email. Same thing, get return email, set email equals the value, and then this get display text thing here, here they want us to use this lambda operator. So instead of creating a regular old method that returns something, we're going to use this lambda operator. Public string get display text, and we do that by doing an equal sign, greater than sign. That is equal to first name plus a space plus last name plus equal a comma plus the email address. And that's it. And let's see, y is public string. I don't know why it's like that, because it's not, you cannot directly contain members. Let's see, what am I doing wrong? Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. These all have to go inside. Here. And these are faded out because they're private. That makes more sense. All right, so that's this is our customer.cs, our customer class. All right, so next, when we complete the customer class, use a Solution Explorer to review the members and jump to the code for one or more of the members. Then review the members for the validator class. So use the class diagram and use it to review the members of the code. So I haven't yet figured out how to use the class diagram. You're supposed to be able to right click and say view. Does anyone have this? I started installing it on my laptop, but it took way too long. It's still probably at home installing. Has anybody tried this out? Have you tried this out? Try it out, this class diagram thing? Yeah. So if we go to the text, let me open up the textbook here. Vital source. and we search for class diagram. We get this one. Page 398. Figure 1220 shows a class diagram that includes two classes in the product maintenance app. Here you see, so we're supposed to be able to create a class diagram like the one by right-clicking on the project name in the Solution Explorer and selecting View, View Class Diagram, command from the resulting menu. So if we look over here, it looks like this. So we're supposed to be able to click on a project, like this project here, and do a right click, and there's supposed to be view. So you go like this. View, there's no view. Is there a view? I don't see view. View. So anyway, must not be that important. So anyway, I'm gonna figure that out someday. Got to put some semicolons here. All right, so anyway, let's move on. So then we add the code to implement the add customer form. So display the code for the add customer form and declare a class variable named customer of type customer. So let's go back here and go to the add customer.cs. And so the first thing we want to do is we want to, inside here, we want to create a customer of type customer, private customer type customer. We're going to call it customer null. And then we're going to have a initial value of null. And let me go to the next page. And then we're going to add a public method named getNewCustomer that displays the form as a dialog box and returns a customer object. Okay, so add a public method named getNewCustomer that displays the form as a dialog box and then returns a customer object. So that would look like this. Public customer is going to return a customer. return one of these, and it's going to be, we're going to call it get new customer, and we want it to show the dialog box. This one, and return customer. So it's going to, so when this is called, it's going to return this customer. All right. Then add an event handler for the click event of the save button that validates the data on the form using the methods of the validator class. And then creates a new customer object and closes the form if the data is valid. So, so let's go to here, and it's going to be the save. Save this one. Waiting for this thing to. Okay, here we go. I'm going to first add the isValidData method here. Private returns a Boolean value isValidData. And what that's going to do is that's going to return validator is present txt first name, and okay, we're talking about this validator class right here. Looks like this. It's a static class, which means you don't have to create an object. You can just use it, calling it validator. Just use it. And is present takes in a text box, checks to see if the text box is empty. If the text box is empty, it returns this error message. It displays up an error message, returns false. Otherwise, if it's not empty, it returns true. And then is decimal, checks to see if, tries parsing it, make sure it's a decimal value. If it is, it returns true. Otherwise, it returns this error message, returns false. This is Boolean, test to see if, I mean, it's Boolean, it's another Boolean method. It checks to see if the text box has an integer in it. If it does, it returns true. Otherwise, it displays out an error message saying it has to be an integer. And then this this one here, it checks the text box, and the text box has to have a decimal value in it. We don't even use this, do we? We don't even use this because there's no decimal values. No decimal values. This one's pretty new. It's isValid email. All it does is it checks to see if there is an ampersand and a period. It should also test to see if the period that comes after the ampersand. I might add that in there. So let's okay. So this is the validator class that they just gave us. And so if we go back to here, this checks to see if the first name text box has got something in it, and we need to, and then we want to also make sure that the last name has got something in it, is present txt last name, and we want to make sure that email validator dot is present txt email, and we also want to make sure that validator is valid email txt email. And if this expression ends up being true, then it returns a true. If just one of these is false, it's going to return a false, and the data won't be valid. So now that we have that, let's use it. If is valid data, we don't need to have any parameters in there. If it's valid data, then we're going to return this. We're going to assign this customer variable equals what am I not doing right? Public partial class form, initialize component, customer. Oh. What happened to my? What happened to my? It's like there's missing stuff. Thought I typed in some stuff. Where's the dialogue? Did I type it in the wrong place? Oh, I typed it in the wrong place, didn't I? This. Somebody's not paying attention. This should be over here. All right. This should be lowercase. Turns the customer equals new customer text first name text comma txt last name text. So this is the constructor where we're actually entering in some data. Okay, so this simply defines a customer value. It defines a variable named customer, and it's of type this thing, this customer here, which we defined here in this class. It's this type of a. This defines the class. We're declaring an object called lowercase customer of that type class, and we're initializing it to null. We wouldn't have to initialize it to null because it would be initialized to null anyway, but it's better to initialize it anyway. And then here, this is a method that will pop up the dialog box. This dialog box, this add customer dialog box, and do its thing, and customer, this lowercase customer, will have a value. It'll have a value once this save button is clicked, and this is the constructor. This is the constructor for adding, or for creating this new object that's got stuff filled in, that's got a customer data filled into it already, and so this is using this constructor right here. It's using that constructor right here. It's this, and before, okay, enter. And so it's going to create this new object. It's got all the customer data in it, assign it to this object here, which is this object here. So now it's no longer null. And then up here, this thing finishes and is finished because the dialog box closes, and then it returns the value that it just assigned. It just assigned this. It created this customer object that's got the data filled in, assigns it to this object, and then it returns it. So when this thing is called, it's going to return a customer object that's got this data filled in. So so that's that. So now we should go, and now we can go fill in the rest of this the add form here, or from the main form. Let's see what this says. Add an event handler for the click event to cancel. I guess we need to cancel. Yeah, we did that, didn't we? This one. This close. Here. All right, so let's go to, okay, so we did that. Okay, add code to implement a customer maintenance form. Display the code for the customer maintenance form and declare a class variable named customers of, and this is going to be a list. It's going to be a list of customer objects. It's going to be a list, and the list is going to be able to hold customer objects. And it's going to be called lowercase customers. So let's go over to here. And so the first thing we're going to do is declare right here. We're going to declare it's going to be a private list. It's going to be just internal. It's going to be a list. It's going to be a list of customers. This is the class. This is the class. It's a list of objects of this class, customer class, and it's going to be called lowercase customers, and it's going to be initialized to null. And then we need a load handler, an event load handler. So let me go over out to here, and let me double click out here someplace, double click, and so there's the load handler. And we're gonna, we are going to, this is when we use our customer DB. Okay, so this, all right, let's look inside here. This is a class that they just give us. I think I showed you this already. No, I didn't. We're going to assume that this path is valid. We're probably going to have to adjust that. And there is a file called customers.txt. And there's a couple of methods that are provided here. One of them is get customers. So this reads up. It just reads the file. Path. So here we write out to the path. This is the path to this file. And here we read in this file. We read the file. And we haven't learned about these other file modes yet, but this will either open an existing file or create a new one, and to read. So if it creates a new one, it'll be empty. And this thing just reads it all in. And it's going to return this array of customers here. So we're going to again create a list. It's a list of customer objects, customer defined by this class that we just created here, defined by this thing. We just created this class here. So here is where we read in using text in stream reader, where we while text. So this uses this peek function. It peeks to see if there's something there, and while there's something there, it reads it in, and it's going to be a vertical bar delimited spreadsheet. It's a text file. It's vertical bar delimited, and the first column is going to be the first name. The second column is going to be the last name. And the third column is going to be the email address. And so these are the the properties of the customer object. 3 properties of the customer object, assigning those, because here it creates a new instance of customer. Creates a new instance of a customer, assigns these properties, assigns these values to the properties, and then adds this customer to the customers list, which is defined here. It's a list of customers. And once this while loop is done, then this list of customers here is filled up with the customers that were in this vertical bar delimited spreadsheet, vertical bar separated values, DSV, yes. And then we close it up and we return this list of customer objects. So this thing returns a list of customer objects. This is a static method in this static class, customer DB class. So we don't have to create an instance of the customer DB object. We just use it. It's a static class. And this is what we use to write them back out. It's we pass it in a list of customers. We pass in this list of customers, and we'll see how we use that. But this thing just this opens up access to the file, to this path, opens up access to it, and then we loop through this for each customer object in this list of customers. It's a customer. It's like this is the class type. For each customer object in this list of customers, we first of all we write. We're just using write, not write line, because we don't want to. This is the right line. We want to first write this one, then we write this one, then we write line. Now we could create a string that's got first name, last name, and email, and then just do one write line. We could do it that way, but we don't. We're just doing it this way. And so we loop through all these customer objects and writing them out one value at a time. And then once we write the email address, we write the return. So we go on to the next line, and then when we're done, we close it. So that's customer DB. So that's this class. So if we go back to here, not there, here, let's continue with this. So we're doing our load handler here, and what we want to do is we've defined a list of customers here that's empty, and this is going to load them up. So we say this customers list is equal to customer DB, which is this class. So we don't have to create an object to be able to use this class, because it's a static class. We can just use it, and we're going to use the get customers method in there. And we don't have to pass any parameters because it knows the path and all that. It knows everything. And then, so what did I just do? All right, so I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to come back to this little method here. First, I want to define the method that's going to be used to fill the list box. So private void fill customers, fill customer list box. And so this is going to, we have a customers list box called LST customers. Let's confirm that. This one here, it's called LST customers. You can see right up there. LST customers, items, add. We need to do it for each. Customers, items, clear. Never mind. Clear. First, we're going to clear it to make sure that it's empty, in case we want to do this twice. And then we have we've grabbed out our customers. We've grabbed them out using this customer class here. We've grabbed them out, and for each type customer C, I'll just use C, in customers, for each C, each customer, we're going to add it. LST customers dot items dot add C dot get display text. So this is the method that we created to display out. It's going to be the first name space last name, comma email address. So that's gonna load up the list box. So after we've and it's gonna be done when we power up the form, when we load the form initially. So let's go back to this load handler. The first thing this load handler does is read up the customers if there are any, and the next thing it does is it fills the customer list box right here. Calls this thing. Now, for adding a customer, it's this one right here. Let's double click on that. And so what we want to do here is we want to pop up the add customer form, and it's going to return a customer object. And assuming that the customer object is not null, if it's not null, then we want to add it to our customers list. We want to add it to this list. So we can go, first of all, let's create this, we're going to create an instance of the form, of the add customer form, and the name of the class is this. It's called form add customer. That's the class. So that goes right here. We're going to create a form.add customer. We're going to create an object of this class, and let's call this object add customer form. Just call it that, and that's going to equal a new form add customer. And so that will pop up, and it'll presumably return. We have to customer. We're going to create a customer, an object of type capital customer, and we're going to call it lowercase customer equals add customer form dot get new customer. So so we've created this object that we're going to use called add customer form. That's what it's called, and it is an object of this type of class, form add customer. And when we call this method in add customer form, when we call the get new customer method, that is this method here. Where is it? Get new customer. It's this one. That method is called, and what that method does is it shows the dialog box. So this is what pops up the dialog box. So by calling this method in this object, this method is part of this object that we just created a new instance of. It's an object of this class type. So this method is certainly there in this class type. This is an object that we just created an instance of it. And so this pops up the dialog box, and it's going to return a customer. Presumably, it'll be filled in with data. See, it returns a customer. It pops up this dialog box, and then when the dialog box closes, then this should be filled in. That's this. That's this, and this returns it back to here, comes back out of here, puts it in there, and this is the add, click, and then we got to test to see if it's null or not. If this customer thing that just came back is not null, if it's not null, then we can do something with it. And what we're going to do with it is we're going to add it to our customer list, customer add customer. So we're going to add this object that we just got back. Customers. It's a list. It's this thing. It's a list of customers. So we can add, we're just going to add to the list. It's a list of customers. So it's got to be a customer object. This is a list of customer. This is a list of customer objects. And we've just gotten back a customer object that's filled in. It's filled in because it's not null. And this is how we add it. We add it to the, we add this customer object that we just got back to our list of customers. And then we're going to call our, we're going to call the save customers method of this customer DB class. We're going to call this thing. We're going to call this because we want to save it out. We're going to save out the complete list again. So each time we add a new one, we're going to save out the complete list. So let's say it's customer DB dot save customers, and we're going to save our list out. And once we save it out, we want to fill our customer list box again. Just this. So each time we add a new customer, we save it out, and then we refill our customer list. Seems like a waste, but that's how we do it. All right, so that adds. Now to delete. Okay, so delete, there's going to be something selected. There's going to be customer selected, and we're going to click delete. And here we are. And so the first thing we're going to do is we want to grab out the index, the selected index. So let's define int. It's going to be an integer. I equals list customers dot selected index, and presumably it's not -1, because if it's -1, then nothing was selected. So if I is not equal to -1, then we can do something, and we're gonna, first of all, we want to grab that customer. We want to see where it is. It's this customer, and let's name it lowercase customer again. And that's going to be this customers, this list of customers. It's going to be the ith one. And then we're going to pop up an error message, or a message saying, are you sure you want to delete this clown string? A message, are you sure you want to delete and let's put the guy's name there, plus customer dot first name plus space plus customer last name plus question mark. Are you sure you want to delete this guy? And let's pop up the dialog box, dialog result, button equals message box show message. confirm. This is the title up at the top. Delete. Confirm that you want to delete this guy, and we want to return a yes no. We want the buttons in this dialog box to be a yes or no, because we're asking if they're sure. So message box buttons. This is an enumeration here. Yes no. So we want it to be yes no buttons. And it's going to be a button, and so a button is a dialog result type. And so if button is equal to dialog result yes, then that means it's a go, and we're going to remove it. So customers remove. We're going to remove this customer. And we're going to save it out again. We've removed it. We're going to save it out again. Customers db dot customer db. Save customers. We're going to save out this list again, and we want to refill the list box. So that's how we delete. And we can put an error message in here. No customer was selected. Okay, so and the last thing we need to make sure is we have this exit thing doing something. All right, so it's 3 o'clock. Is it the end of this class? All right, let's see if this works. It's probably not going to work because I know where it's saving. Okay. Wonder where it saves. Must be saving someplace. This PC, Windows. Look, it created the file, created the directory and everything. There it is. Just open it. There it is. See? Vertical bar delimited. So anyway, I guess I was going to mess around with the form validation and stuff, but I guess I'm not going to right now. The class is done. So I'm going to save this. Save as, save all, and close, exit. And I think I'm going to put this in my Dropbox. Oh, wait, where did I create it? Oh, I created it's down in my DOS space. All right, okay, so anyway, I guess that's good. It's down in my DOS space. All right, so stop sharing. Okay. All right, so So anyway, have a good vacation. And if you have any questions or anything, just email me. I'll be around this vacation, and we can meet here if you need to. So thanks for watching.